Thank you for having us, Paz.
Great to be here.
Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day. Now, Framed has been here a long time. Let's go back a little bit in history and tell me some of that.
So Frame started in 1976.
Okay.
We actually started in the Glebe for 10 years. We moved here in 1986, and we've been in this location ever since.
And how long have you owned it?
So I've owned it since 2011, but I've worked here since high school, if I date myself. I actually started working here in 1988.
All right. Framed is new to me, and yet I know Old Ottawa South very well. I've sold many homes in the area. And before we meet with business owners, we send a short list of questions, and there was one in particular that spoke to you, and that was, what is it about the neighborhood that makes you feel so special? Tell me more about that.
So this is my neighborhood. I moved into the neighborhood in 1980 with my parents, and I grew up here. This is, I went to Hopewell, which is kitty corner from here. I know every street. I grew up playing in Brewer Park, in the river, walking along the canal, playing tennis at Windsor Park. And, when someone says, oh, I need you to drop something off or come and look at something, I don't need to look at Google Maps. I know every street. I know the addresses. I know which side of the street it's going to be on. It's my home. It's where I'm from.
I got it. And this is a neighborhood in the city that has a very, very strong community base, community orientation. It's a certain kind of person that is attracted to wanting to live here, people that want to move into the area. I don't care what I pay for the home, I just want to be in this area. You've grown up with that. You were mentioning your parents still live here.
My parents live, my dad lives 2 blocks that way. My mom lives a block that way, which can be a blessing okay. But, when I think of Old Ottawa South, it's one of the few walking, shopping neighborhoods left in Ottawa. You can walk out of your house, you can hit a restaurant, you can get your hair cut, you can get something framed. There's still small local businesses here, which are a big deal to our city and to the vibrancy of this community. And we're really centrally located, easy to get downtown on the bus, and pretty easy to drive with such close access to the canal. And then on the weekends, the canal. How can you go wrong?
No, you can't. Now, I look around the store. You obviously do more than frames.
Yep,
but you were just saying to me, some of these are pretty fancy.
Yeah, some of them are pretty fancy. I mean, we have hardwood frames that are made, milled, and made in Ottawa, so you can buy local. It doesn't get any more local than that.
I didn't realize that.
We've got our gilded frames. These are handmade in New York City, so these are things that you don't find every day. Most of the production molding, the majority is made in Italy still, a little bit in the Czech Republic. If you're interested in, being really environmentally conscious, we have frames that are Forest Stewardship Council certified. So the wood's being replaced. We have other frames where every time we sell a frame, a tree is donated to replant in California from wildfires. So there's a big variety in the frames, in the matting around the pictures. Again, we have FFC certified product there as well. So for the environmentally conscious, just good for the planet, good for the people.
All right, Paz, maybe you could share with us and our audience maybe a fun fact, something that we wouldn't expect to know.
So one of the things about Framed is we do great custom picture framing, but we do lots of other things too. So in the neighborhood, we do a lot of giftware.
Okay.
And we really try and focus on buying Canadian-made products first, from as close to where we are right now. So if it's chocolate made in Ottawa, if it's candles made in Ontario, we try and work that way for our giftware. Work as local as possible, and then work our way out from there.
Supporting somebody can come in, they get their frames, but there's other stuff available.
There's other stuff available.
Sourced locally. We love local.
Yep.
That's wonderful to know. What else can you tell me that I need to know? If I never heard of Framed, what do I need to know?
So one of the big frustrations that our clients go through is if they've got something complicated to install or hang in their home. We can do that for you.
So you go out to the client's home.
Go to the client's home.
Hang all their paintings.
Hang all their paintings. Maybe help them decide where stuff should go. Look at some difficult places or some really heavy stuff. How are we going to deal with this? We can take care of that. Maybe you have a stairwell. You know, people don't like being precarious on a ladder in a stairwell. We can do all that stuff for you.
That's
you don't
great
have
to know, because it's always been a pet peeve of mine. I grew up in a house where there was art covering the wall.
Right.
And I often go into homes, and what do I see? Crooked, or the painting's too low, or the painting's too high.
Yeah.
And you will attest, it changes the complexity of the room.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of clients where we go into their homes, and I think you'll know this as a real estate agent, we turn a house into a home once your artwork is up on the walls. It can change your space. It makes it your home.
Mic drop. Enough said, right?
Yeah.
Right there. Okay. If you weren't here, if you had not been here since you were 3 years old,
Yeah.
what would you be doing?
So I haven't always been here. I
Okay.
went away to university. I came back. I worked here in the summers. So actually, for a little while, I was an elementary school teacher. So I taught
You have a master's degree in education or
I
something
do,
like that.
yeah.
Okay.
So I taught grade 3, 4 for a while. I taught some grade 6. I loved working with kids. And, you know, you always think about, well, how does that translate to this? It doesn't really, but the one thing I missed doing that was the tactile, working with my hands.
Okay.
You have great interaction with kids, and I loved it.
Right.
But there's that working with my hands, building something, working with tools, cutting stuff that just was always kind of there missing for me. So yeah, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably still be a teacher.
What does the future look like?
Future looks, I mean, like what we've done, trying to be as local as possible.
Okay.
I think that's key. Trying to support the wholesalers in Canada, keeping it here as much as possible. For us, the future is always trying to frame stuff absolutely the best way possible, prescribed to museum standards. So when you come in and see us, you frame it once, you frame it right, you frame it
Okay.
for your whole life.
It's funny you mention that, because in a day and age where people are talking more about customer service than ever, I suggest to you that customer service is arguably at an all-time low. And yet here you are, your big focus is exceeding standards, exceeding people's expectations. It's one of the reasons how we met.
Yep.
In Stepping Above. We're both members of Ottawa Executive Association, so a little shout out to that group of people, and trying to nurture each other's businesses and share in our successes. Thank you so much for having us into your spot. This has been enlightening. Hopefully some of our friends take note, come down and see Paz, say hi, get your stuff framed here, get your paintings hung there, and pick up some other little knickknacks that'll be worthwhile. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.